of the frog was not going away. There, he was filling the chamber. King Harris used Instagram to defend his mother by pointing out 50's prior disputes, the consequences of his shooting in 2000, past claims of domestic violence, and other problems. King was looking for whatever he could find in 50. He was looking over the documents. He was discussing a domestic abuse case from 2013, a 50 Cent case. 50 Cent was tried for domestic abuse in 2013. All you do is apply pressure to females. Bring that, King wrote with a photo of him in court. King threw everything he owned at the wall, sending smoke to the chimney. He was trying to alter the narrative so that 50 would seem to be the villain. But here's the issue. 50 Cent has been active in the beef industry for almost 20 years. He has been at odds with J.R.U.L.E. He has been at conflict with Rick Ross. There have been arguments between him and Diddy, in addition to T. 50 Cent is at odds with many of his peers, including Diddy, Benino, Ja Rule, and others. 50 Cent has determined the opponent has attacked each of those feuds because he does not want to be seen in public. Consequently, when King Harris, he unintentionally encountered a trap when he engaged this duel. 50C was going to do more than simply clap back. He was going to make receipts that would append entirely. After all, King's personal life. 50 Cent's inclusion of other people's families is one of his most reliable features. This is not a recent development. There is documentation on this pattern. The hitmaker from Eind Dog Club has previously done this. Performed in rappers' homes. Last year, Memphis rapper Finesse received a similar insult twice. He was reportedly failing to support his mother financially. On Instagram, 50 Cent wrote about it as well. 50 Cent has been doing this for 4 years. He doesn't only go after the person he disagrees with. He goes for their company, their connections, their family, and their reputation. He goes after everything, and along with the Harris family, he sought everything. On February 23rd, Monday, 50 Cent persisted in ridiculing King and Theo hosts, made fun of both Harris family members in a video from the 50 WTF program, which was reposted by Tiny Harris. The tipping point in this situation was that 50 was no longer just publicizing his own remarks. He was endorsing the remarks made by others about Tiny and King. He was making sure that the Harris family was the subject of online discourse. T and his family have been involved in a heated online dispute with 50 Cent. Verzu's fight between the two rappers was not canceled, appears to be where the conflict is coming from. King Harris's situation grew problematic at this point because of 50 after concentrating on King specifically. Cent started to explore King's private life. Furthermore, King Harris's history includes the fact that he was raised in the spotlight and on camera from birth. King Harris, the son of rapper T and R&B singer Tiny, has spent most of his childhood in the public eye because of his songs, videos that get viral, and growing social media audience. King has avoided the shadow of his parents and abandoned Thea's reputation. Atlanta, Georgia is the birthplace of American star Kid Harris. On the 25th of August 2004, his father, often known as Tip or T-Dot, is a well-known American rapper, singer, and songwriter. He is also an entrepreneur, record producer, and performer. His mother is a gifted vocalist and member of the R&B vocal group X Escape. Composer King has starred on T and Tiny, A Family Hustle, on VH1 since he was a little youngster. His entire life has been documented for the public to view. It follows from this that there is plenty of material accessible, including numerous instances and video clips that may be misconstrued or exploited against him. Furthermore, 50 Cent is the kind of person who will take advantage of those chances and use them as leverage. He is the kind of person who can agitate his worst enemy for 20 years. He is the kind of individual who would work with DoorDash to make fun of a prisoner. That's what he did to Jim Jones. He shared him on Instagram in February 2026. Rival Jim Jones was seen brutally kicking down a corridor door on security footage. As a result, when 50 concentrated on King Harris, everyone was still recalling those who knew that things would get ugly, and they did. The December 2025 Blueface incident. Furthermore, 50 played into that narrative in a way that made people start establishing contacts. The controversy began when Blueface addressed repeated social media rumors regarding his partner Nakira in reply to comments claiming she resembled King Harris. Blueface accepted the comparison after the rapper's claim that his girlfriend resembles Tay's son. King Harris and Blueface got into an online argument. "You look like King Harris, my underscore brother. Proceed," Blueface wrote. Blueface instantly attacked masculinity as he remarked, "There's nothing manly about you, Lil. Don't make it strange, bro." And the internet followed. The implication was clear when Blueface wrote, "King Harris is my type of boss." And when 50 Cent brought up this issue once more during his altercation with the Harris, all those old videos and comments came back into the narrative. Family. Every single video, screenshots started to appear on the internet. A moment in which 50 Cent was counting on King's masculinity being questioned. He doesn't always must express it himself. All he has to do is guide others. The internet looks after of the others. From late 2025 until 2050, the Blueface and King Harris affair was largely forgotten. Due to the disagreement with the Harris family, it was brought back into the conversation and remained there in a live broadcast video that went popular online. Blueface doubled down while standing next to Akira. Everyone says my underscore looks like King." "Do a little bit, baby," he said. "You mean Harris?" King Harris responded to the situation in a controlled manner. To be honest, King used full framing as a negative reaction to Akira's statement. "I'm not as angry, more like weirded out," he said. "Why do you think your girl looks like a guy who doesn't sit?" asked Blueface. He went on to criticize King's voice and looks, saying that there was nothing manly about him and describing him as fair-skinned and tiny for amusement. Then Blueface withdrew his girl into it. "Come into the bed, King Harris." In jest, baby Blueface remarked to his new girlfriend, Akira, "Is na dot with your little petite, Queen Harris. I enjoy how you put it." Wait a minute. Ow. Hold on for a moment. Millions of people saw that video when it became viral. Additionally, the story that surfaced was one that King Harris' manhood was openly questioned. King responded politely, but the internet Harris continued to run with the narrative statements, responding to Blueface with everything from "I don't look like no girl" to "I don't look like no king." Second of all, brother, why would you say that? I'm more terrified than angry. While some supporters sided with King and believed the relationship was real, others agreed with Blueface and claimed to be able to discern the similarities. Odd. You claim that your woman has a masculine appearance, so don't sit on that side. An Instagram user claimed that rather than recognizing the resemblance, people would prefer to entertain the LGBT narrative. Making the call to Weathers argued it was inappropriate to make the entire topic odd. That type of comparison that provides precise where this was taken by the internet. Appearances were no longer the only consideration. It was concerning sexuality and masculinity. These are the stories that are almost indistinguishable, that are almost unstoppable once they start, particularly if someone like 50 Cent chooses to use them as ammunition. But 50 Cent never directly assertion regarding them. That's not how 50 operates. Rather, he reposts sounds from podcasts where King Harris' sexuality is discussed and suggestive information is posted. He makes use of memes and emojis to lead the conversation in a particular way. He then leaves the rest to the internet. This is exactly what happened in this case. What the internet did was the internet does, reposting content that contributed to the story's revival. Additionally, people started bringing up previous social media posts, together with King's Family Hustle show excerpts. When 50 Cent unlocks that door, that's what occurs. They started re-examining each interview, appearance, and interaction. And they started putting together a case that may or may not be based in reality. As the individual in a relationship is the one who is most directly affected by these kinds of gossip, everyone except King began to wonder what King Harris' girlfriend thought of everything. This alongside him. For many years, the public has been aware of King Harris's personal life. Although he has seen his fair share of public scandals and viral dating rumors, his current relationship appears to be more committed. Instagram celebrity Jenny Anana Epps, who is his girlfriend and the mother of his child, is renowned for her bravery, behavior, and the existence of viruses. The couple just went public with their love by attending their baby's birth together. Take a shower. In 2025, Janie Epps will be 20 years old, nearly reaching King Harris's age. The two have occasionally been spotted together in public and private settings, flaunting matching ensembles on social media and at other occasions. They would delete each other's accounts entirely. There have been setbacks in their relationship, visibility, and enigma. The latter is quite important. A pattern has been noticed by fans, during which they have occasionally deleted one another from social media. People immediately turned to when the 50 Cent beef started. Jenna used social media to look for any signs of danger. Additionally, the historical tales regarding King's manhood started to come back into focus. Although King Harris is not yet a parent, the images from the baby shower confirm that King and Jean were together and beginning a family. Now, though, the question is whether the pressure was genuine. King was anticipating his first child with an unnamed partner. A prior article claims that the relationship has been affected by this conflict as well as the comments and online posts. Because, let's be honest, as a young lady in her early 20s, and even if nothing on the internet is true, the mere fact that your boyfriend is having those conversations causes conflict in any kind of relationship. Stress is brought on by aspects of his masculinity and sexuality. There have already been indications of instability in King's relationship. And when someone amplifies those conversations, the tension rises. Using 50 Cent as a platform, someone who specializes in changing people's lives and has millions of followers. Pathetic on social media. His sporadic social media activity with Janaea suggests that they have experienced challenging times. Connection. In addition, King's upcoming fatherhood falls on the same day as the 50 Cent attacks. Or has the fact that Jania and Tiny Harris have yet to publicly comment on the issue made it much more difficult? However, their silence is telling because it's normal for a partner to publicly support their relationship when they are the target of an internet attack. Consequently, Janae's failure to do so during this particular feud has fans are closely monitoring the feud, which is primarily on social media, to see whether it will lessen or worsen. What began as a fight between two seasoned rappers has turned into one that is focused on the family, illustrating how online discussions around Ely might escalate into something far more severe. However, T isn't remaining quiet as he plays a new song and promotes his Kill the King album. Days after they began criticizing each other, the two walk other on Instagram hasn't given up on his Queen's competitor despite him. The rapper from Atlanta on Sunday, February 22nd. He posted a second clip of his diss single War, which made its debut on Atlanta's Hot 1079 on Monday, February 23rd, as 50 Cent and T's feud continued. Tip recorded a song titled War, and T is now using it to create songs about it. Isn't being kind as fuel for his last T? Making a 50A5 dispatcher call is basically branding. This appears to be a 1,000-second preview of a longer version of War that could be featured on T.I.'s most recent album, Kill the King, which will be made available later in 2026. 26. King. Harris is called out as a rat and ridiculed for his altercation with 50, picturing him as a warrior on the computer. Taps claims to have inmates. Paperwork with identities from the 1950s. A startling claim that, specifically, attacks the gangster brand of the 1950s. After his altercation with Diddy's son in 2026, Combs. Christian King Combs. The tycoon pursued a rapper's child. This is another trend in which 50 mailed messages target musicians and their children.com. Target musicians and their children. The ongoing dispute between 50 Cent T and King Harris has the internet in a frenzy. Nowadays, they distrust everything they think to be accurate of King Harris in the midst of the chaos. The struggle, the war between 50 Cent and King's online. Harris has generated a lot of debate, and some of the revelations made throughout this conflict are undoubtedly things King would rather not be discussed in public. Let's look at how this all started and what 50 Cent said that has people talking. The Verzuz who wrecked everything. To understand why 50, you must understand where it all started. King Harris and Cent are currently at odds. It also started with an occasion meant to be a celebration. There was never a Verzuz duel between 50 Cent and TT has declared that due to what happened about their potential. Number 50 Cent's alleged conflict with Verzuz is no longer respected. Co-host Gilly Doy posted on social media in a later $1 million worth of game episode. T described the game that, in his view, ought to have happened, explaining that it was about remembering each other's catalog and that, when touring Los Angeles together to promote some shows, he and 50 had talked about it. The exciting part starts at this point. T explained that 50 and T had talked about it many years ago. The Atlanta rapper stated that 50 would respond when T made the plan public, according to an agreement reached by the musicians. But he claims that Fif was confused when T.I. mentioned the possibility of a virus. That confused T.I. 50 was posing as, even though he had met with the individual, discussed the idea, and organized the rollout. He was completely unaware of what was going on. T talked about a meeting in Los Angeles where the two were actually talking about things other than music. So it wasn't a random yell. Together, 50 and T were conducting business. They were pitching TV shows and films. During that time, the idea of a virus was also discussed. And 50 was aboard until he wasn't. T-Dot claims that this is because Trap Pioneer accused a CFI of preventing a brawl between him and a Verzuz during a live nightcap program. T was on the go and wasn't holding back. Program starring Shannon Sharpe and Chad Asono. 50 doesn't want to smoke. He claimed that when he called him out. 50 ducked. You already know that 50 Cent takes criticism seriously if you know anything about him. Instead of adhering to he gave his covert approval to the concept I put out. Request 50 tips that were turned down. In typical 50 Cent fashion, he began uploading an old Crime Stoppers commercial on social media